night with the wings of a neon angel. Every single beat brings you closer to God, like a holy chorus calling out to save you from the fatal trappings of a broken heart. There in the light of a neon angel, a visceral caress carries you away. Hidden in the rhythm is a chance to save a lonely heart from its tragic fate.
Hello and welcome to Cory's Corner 2024 predictions. I hope everyone is doing well on this lovely Saturday or whatever day it is you're watching this on the replay. Yeah, welcome. Just got to check some audio settings, make sure. Okay. All right. 2023, just for a short recap, was kind of a shit year for me. I don't really have much to say about it. I mean, let's see. 2023, I gained 50 subscribers here on YouTube. I sold 10 songs on Bandcamp, so those are good things. But all in all, this has been one of the most disheartening, soul-crushing fucking years that I've ever experienced. And that's all I'll say on that, just to avoid deepening the current depressive episode that I'm in, not to make this a pity Cory party, because I definitely don't fucking want that. But anyway, let's say hello to the chat, shall we? Hail to Diablo Dame. Good to see you. And hail to Nate D. Awesome to have you here. Wonderful. Ah, man. So, I hope everyone had a good 2023. At least as best as they could. All things considered. It's not exactly something that we want to remember a lot of the time. I mean, honestly, I meant to do a lot of stuff this year, but like most people, that just kind of fell through. Yeah. Super fun times. Anyway, we'll just jump straight into the 2024 predictions, shall we? Because this is set to be quite the interesting year, if you will. We've got the presidential election coming up. We've got a whole bunch of crazy shit going on overseas and whatnot. Hail to Sean Estep. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, and in case that was my new song, by the way, at the beginning of this 3 minutes ago. Didn't even think, whatever. I'm kind of scatterbrained today. Woke up on the wrong side of things. And I'm trying to keep my brain coherent. If that is the word I need to use right now. I have no idea. But there's a lot of weird, crazy-ass shit going on. So in the beginning of 2024, we're going to see a lot of crazy shit happening. We've already started seeing it happen. I'll start with predictions for overseas bullshit. Okay, hail to Sean Landrigan. Good to see you, buddy. I know a lot of Seans. It's kind of weird. I know a lot of Seans. But as far as my overseas predictions go, I'm going to say that this whole war in Ukraine thing that's been going on is... it's going to get exponentially worse for the Ukrainians because Russia's starting to not give a flying fuck about anything at all. So they just going to like, pow, 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 pow. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be really bad. But the Israel thing is also going to get worse. These are not like groundbreaking predictions, by the way, but I do have a feeling that our current presidency will actually turn its back on Israel probably somewhere around March, I'm assuming. You can quote me on that to tell me I'm wrong if it's wrong, but I feel like we about to abandon Israel in general just because, this world's going to shit as it is. So why would we keep our allies? Why would we do that? Nobody knows. This piece of hair right here is pissing me off. Like, what the fuck is it doing? Oh my gosh. But anyway, yep. And of course, BRICS is going to get slightly bigger, minus the addition of Argentina. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but yeah. South America is a fucking crazy shithole that's about to explode too. I would be surprised if there were more than 2 countries in South America not in conflict with one another or the broader world. It's going to be a crazy ass year on that side of things. And now to slightly more local predictions, because we do have this presidential election coming up, and there's been a lot of weird shit going on with Trump being removed from ballots in several states, Republicans saying that they're going to remove Biden from the ballot in several states, even though they're fucking retarded and they know they're not going to be able to do that. Where we have more potential candidates than I've ever seen in my life, because they're all shit choices. And that leads you to ask the question, like, who is possibly going to win the 2024 election? Now, I have a 2-pronged prediction on this, okay? The first prediction is that it's not going to be Trump, okay? I'm sorry to say that, but he's pretty much being put into a position where he's not even going to be in consideration for a majority of the states. And there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. If you write him in on the thing, they're probably just going to get rid of your ballot and be like, oh, well, he wasn't allowed, so too bad. And that leaves us with a choice of a shitty Republican and several shitty Democrats that may or may not be running as Democrats. You have the incumbent, Joe Biden, who is the least favorite president that has ever existed, according to polling numbers. I mean, Carter is doing a tap dance looking at Biden's approval ratings. And then we have RFK, which is a weird fucking situation. If he's allowed to run, then it's going to get even weirder. But my overall prediction for the 2024 election is actually going to be the fact that Biden is going to take it. The incumbent is going to maintain his presidency. And I have no idea why. I can't honestly tell you why. Like, I can't think of a single person that's actually going to vote for Biden, but he's going to win. That's just my prediction. And if by some narrow chance he doesn't win, it's going to be one of these weird ass people that we didn't actually expect to win, like RFK or one of these other weird candidates that's going to pop up in early 2024. And I got to say that I am not in the most hopeful of mindsets when it comes to our choices and how all this is going to go. Yes, gas prices are going down, but I can't tell you why. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I feel like gas is going to hold steady. That's another prediction for 2024, is that gas is going to hold steady at this weirdly lower mark. I can't say it's cheap because, I mean, yes, $2 is cheap compared to $4, but at the same time, it's not great. I mean, when it takes $25 to get a half tank of gas, it's a bit excessive in my personal opinion. But that's because I am technically a minimum wage worker, which here in the state of Colorado goes up to $14.40 at the beginning of the year. So that's gonna really help the economy out. And I hear a lot of people touting that, like, oh, we made minimum wage go up. We're super excited, et cetera, and we did such a good job. And it's like, motherfuckers, if you go to the website detailing the increases, it's all an inflation adjustment. So nobody actually did anything good. Even though in my opinion, minimum wage in general is crazy. Just saying. No one should be guaranteed $14 an hour. When I was a kid, it was you're lucky to get $6.50, but whatever. So don't believe any political lies in the next year. That's just my safest piece of advice that I could give you. But now that we've gone through all the political stuff that I wanted to talk about, and predict. I will just come out and start doing some predictions for the channel. We probably will hit hail to Josiah Robinson. Lovely to see you here. Landergan says, every time minimum wage goes up, so does cost of everything. Exactly. It's not a good thing. It's just not a good thing. But anyway, so we're definitely going to hit 700. Fingers crossed. Next year, 2024, we'll probably hit 700. But that's only because we only need 27 more to get there. That being said, I gained 50 followers over 2023. Or subscribers, whatever you want to say. And that's incredible for me. Honestly, it's not as good as previous years, but again, this was a shit year for me. I wasn't able to release a lot of content. I wasn't able to even do the game show that I wanted to do, given the fact that I was going to start it right when my mom died. Diablo Dame says, I would sub more if I could. That's okay. That's okay. I prefer you guys to only sub once, just so I can have an honest idea of the numbers that I'm looking at. But saying that, if we got rid of all of Toxic Man Flu's alternative accounts that are subscribed to my channel, I'd probably only be sitting at about 140. So thank you to Toxic Man Flu for making up so many fake accounts. I guess it makes me feel good inside, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So we'll definitely hit 700 over next year, which will be great. I am going to be focusing more heavily on the music side of things because that provides me with the most catharsis. And yeah, Landrigan liked that joke about Toxic Man Flu's alt accounts. I'm glad somebody likes my jokes. But anyway, I'm going to be focusing more heavily on the music side of things because, as I said, it's the most cathartic thing that I'm experiencing right now. And when you're a person like me who suffers from persistent depressive disorder, that's where I've been in a major depressive state for over 2 years straight. Yeah, I need the catharsis. That being said, I will be working on a new Frank Lee. I am working on a new Frank Lee. It's a lengthy process now that I'm actually pouring my heart and soul into it. And I am working on other produced content, but it's slow rolling because life keeps getting in the way. And that's another prediction I have for myself, is that life is going to continue to get in the way. And I'm going to continue to feel mediocre in all things that I do. That being said, save your fucking pity and don't walk away just because I said that. This is not a woo. It's not like that. I'm just saying. When you live your life with an overwhelming sense of mediocrity and a lack of success, measurable success, you start to doubt choices that you made in your life. And that's why I've decided I'm not making any grand plans for 2024, because the prediction that I have for 2024 resolutions is that 99.8% of them are going to fail. Because that's what New Year's resolutions do. They fail. Because no one's actually committed to New Year's resolutions. No one. Ever. Because they're dumb. I'm going to do this. Are you? If you were going to do that, you probably should have started it 3 or 4 months ago. When it first popped into your head as a good idea for a resolution. Just saying. You know? I will be continuing on with the live streams as regularly as I can. A lot of that has to do with the amount of crazy bullshit that always crops up in my life. I have no control over it at all, whatsoever. Who does? Right? Do you have control over your life? I doubt it. Yeah, but I'm going to be focusing more on the music side of things because it's wonderful. Music is wonderful. Hail to Nate D saying resolutions are dumb. Indeed, they are. And hail to One Man Show. Great to see you, sir. Since One Man Show is here, I will just go ahead and take a moment to touch on Wo Long, or The Adventures of One-Eyed Wong. I was going to buy the game, but they literally require you to have the Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass not only increased in price this year, but they're probably going to increase price again next year. So then it is an unsustainable source of entertainment to be able to do One-Eyed Wong, which is a great show and I love doing it, but I can't justify the cost that Microsoft expects me to pay for their shit access and choices. Control is an illusion. Amen to that, Diablo Damien. We have no control over anything. Not the elections, nothing at all. Neon Angel, the song that I previewed at the beginning of this stream, will be releasing sometime next year. Working on video for that and stuff, so it's going to take a minute. But I'm predicting I'm going to sell one copy of that song. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and predict that I'm going to sell one copy of each song that I release to Toxic Man Flu, because he just buys everything that I put out for some reason. He's a weirdo. But then again, he's Toxic Man Flu, and he's not really known for his exquisite tastes. Just saying. One Man Show says, Wong isn't worth that level of expense. It was fun while it lasted. It was. And I'm sorry, but I'm not paying $18 a fucking month for Xbox Live, or $17 a month for Xbox Live, or whatever. It's just ludicrous. Okay? I used to pay $60 for an entire year, and now they expect me to pay almost 4 times that. Microsoft, if your robots are listening, please take this to heart. Eat a gigantic bag of dicks. That goes to all the corporations. Eat a bag of dicks. Because you guys are fucking stupid. Plain and simple. I do hope to get a new job in 2024, because I'm really sick of being a janitor. Just saying. That is ridiculous. It is. I'm guaranteed within the next couple of years at least to move almost exclusively to PC gaming using an Xbox controller, because at least on the internet, on the computer, you don't have to pay to play your games more than once. At least most of the time. Of course, if you have a subscription-based PC game, that's different. But, like, legit, I could buy Wo Long, I could play it on my computer, and not have to pay Microsoft any fucking money to do so. So that's probably what I'm going to wind up doing eventually. You know what I mean? I mean, shit. Hail to Jason Fox joining us.
Hey, man. I just saw the link and everything right now, man. I've not been home before now, so.
Cool. That's cool. I'm just going over some random predictions for 2024. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty well. I was sick for a couple of weeks, and now I'm good. I'm healthy again. So I'm good, man. I'm good and happy. Had some fun arguments online because I liked the Rebel Moon movie, and that apparently broke people just because I liked that movie.
It's amazing how that works, huh?
Yeah, and they start attacking me and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Just because I liked the movie, whatever. What's the problem?
Welcome to modern day.
Yes.
People literally attack you over whatever they want, and it's just going to get worse in 2024. There's another prediction,
yes.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, exactly. and no, like, yes, I understand some of the criticism of the movie. Of course I do. But for me, I really enjoyed the movie, and at least it had a story, and the main character is not a Mary fucking Sue. It actually had a fucking story, and that's what I liked about the movie. There was actually a story. And people are yeah, I know, and some people
that was awful.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I did not think it was. And a lot of people are like, oh, the villains here, they are the Nazis, Yazis, whatever you want to call them now, and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but that's what they're based off. And people are like, oh, but they based it off, Warhammer and all that. I'm like, no, if you go back to the Second World War and the wars, everything, they had really similar clothing in that time, like they used in the movie. Even before we got the Star Wars movie, do you know how Vader really looked like? It was not Anakin who was Vader. It was just a soldier named Vader who looked like a typical Nazi and had the same uniform. I'm like, that's where it's from. Like, from the war and everything. It's just a uniform that's just based off that. But yeah, it's funny. And it's okay if you don't like the movie, but it's just funny that people go so ballistic, crazy. It's,
Indeed. One Man Show says things will be getting out of control when the haters remember torches and pitchforks. Indeed. Nate D says Warhammer ripped off literally everything, though.
yes, exactly. Exactly.
At this point, I would say 98% of everything we see is a ripoff
Oh
of something or
yeah,
other.
it's like tell me a movie that's original. Tell me a TV show that's original, like 100% original that's
Right?
not based on anything.
Right? Like, okay, so I was watching Mad Max, the first Mad Max movie the other day,
Yeah.
and I started seeing like I was watching it and I was like, holy fuck, that's the Punisher. The Punisher ripped off Mad Max so bad in so many ways. Like
But
the Thomas Jane Punisher. I'm sitting there watching it and I'm all like,
yeah,
like
you can see
damn.
so you can see so many
Everything is a ripoff.
similarities. Yeah, and it's like like this stupid debate of what's better, DC and Marvel, and it's just like Marvel and DC have ripped off each other for many years. And it's like, yeah, DC has good stuff, Marvel has good stuff, but they ripped off each other all the fucking time.
They've always done that.
Yeah, it's like
Always.
I'm a big
Since the days of Stan Lee's opening his fucking eyes, they've been ripping each other off. I mean,
yeah,
come on.
I love Stan Lee, but he ripped off others. He ripped off DC too. And
Everybody
one
did.
of my favorite stuff in Marvel is the X-Men, and X-Men is not original. That was just a rip-off from Doom Patrol from DC that came first, with the team and a guy in a chair and everything. And they took that over to Marvel and just it did better. X-Men did better. So it's just like, yeah, it did better. It was more fun. So that's how it was. Everything is a ripoff.
So, Jason, do you
Yep.
have any fun predictions for 2024?
For me, I think it's just gonna get worse with a lot of culture war. It's not gonna end anytime soon next year, so I predict it's gonna be still a lot of fucking nonsense that we're gonna talk about, and that's gonna go on. The gaming world is starting to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
So I predict it's gonna be a little bit worse next year. There's only it's only one game I'm really excited for next year. It's only
What's
one
that?
game, Tekken 8, because I'm a Tekken guy.
8. Yeah.
And you still are allowed to have sexy women and all that kind of stuff. There's no censorship on that. So I'm like that. I played the demo of the game.
Nate D says Doom Patrol is not a ripoff.
No.
Of X-Men. No. X-Men is a
X-Men.
ripoff of Doom Patrol.
Yes.
Is what he's saying.
That's what. Yeah. I didn't say Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol came
Flip it.
first.
But so you're looking forward to Tekken 8. That's a pretty solid franchise. I think they'll do well.
I think they do well. Their story is pretty good. Not everything makes sense because they've been like that for all the time, but I don't mind it. It's like they always find a way around to like explain it. And to Nate there, with the Doom Patrol with the 2 months, they still did, because with Doom Patrol, it's also they had really much similar storylines with younger kids, basically superheroes that are outcasts, and you have a guy in a chair and all that. It's like it's pretty obvious for a lot of people. So some stuff was ripped off. Not everything, I say, not everything, but the concept and stuff like that. But no, the story is pretty still fun. I wonder how they're gonna explain the ending of Tekken 7, where they finally killed off one of the main characters after so many years, and how Jin is gonna, properly save the world and all that. So it's gonna be fun to see.
All right. So Disney had a surprising lack of billion-dollar movies this year. But I personally think that they're actually going to do a billion-dollar movie at least once in 2024, if not a couple of times.
Yeah,
What do you think?
They probably will, man. There's still people that loves their stuff, even though not many does, but there's still plenty on their side, and we just have to see. But I think there's gonna be some movies there that will sell nicely for Disney.
I personally think Deadpool 3 is going to be a billion-dollar movie.
I think Deadpool is gonna do really well. I'm not excited for it because Wolverine. I just want Logan to be dead.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
for
they already killed him.
yeah, it's like for many years I wanted Logan and Deadpool to really have a meetup, but now it's too late. It's under a different company, and yeah, it's still quote unquote Fox universe, but it's still Disney that owns it. So
Yep.
so we have to see. They're still gonna do the R rating stuff, but it doesn't matter if it's R rated or not. I just we will see what happens with the movie. Um, that's all I can say about that movie, but I think it's gonna do really well because a lot of people are excited for it.
Yeah, and that's the reason I'm saying that will be Disney's $1 billion movie of the year next year,
Mm.
because I haven't really heard of much else that could possibly do that. Maybe Inside Out 2. Is that a Disney movie? Yeah, that's a Disney movie.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I
but
barely remember it. I don't watch this kind of stuff.
but that will really depend on whether or not the parents of current year are sick of Disney's bullshit. Because we know that Inside Out is going to have some heavy, heavy woke bullshit in it.
Oh
There's no
yeah.
escaping from it. No matter what characters they introduce, whether it's anxiety or depression or, uh,
Yeah.
suicidal ideation, like who knows, like what they want to
Yeah.
indoctrinate children with these days. But
Yeah, no, we have to see,
yeah,
I don't think I saw Inside Out, but I know about the movie,
it was a
but
decent movie. The first Inside Out movie was actually decent. It was a good movie. It was engaging. It had a lot of good humor in it. But
okay, so what?
give you,
I don't have a kid, and I do
yeah,
not watch these kind of movies. And when I was a
that's fair.
stepfather, we didn't watch movies like that. We normally, watch Star Wars and other old Marvel stuff, Blade. I showed all the good things. So,
So, how do you think things are going to go for Norway in 24, given the fact that Russia is now threatening them directly?
threatening them again.
This literally directly,
Mm,
though. They were like, "You guys are going to be the
mm.
first to suffer if this shit kicks off." It's like
No, we will
almost
see.
literally what they said.
Well, we will see. We will see. I don't think they're gonna do anything. They are kind of fucked if they do. But Norway, they are stupid enough to make stuff happen. We still have the prime minister who is a fucktard. He also, what was it? They had a secret meeting with Hamas.
Which is always a
Mm,
great idea.
yeah, and he wanted to invite also Hamas to Norway to talk, and I'm like, dude, you invited Taliban, no Hamas, dude, come on. If we are gonna get attacked by Russia, I do understand that why. That's all I'm gonna say because Norway
Yeah.
do not know how to fucking do shit, and every time they try to do stuff, well, we have our prime minister and our king. We have a king, as you know, in Norway we have a king. Denmark and
Mhm.
Sweden,
Yeah.
we're kings. You know what they
Yeah.
do? Nothing. They just
Exactly.
represent. They just represent our country in a stupid way. Our fucking king. Every time there's a war and other stuff, he really doesn't do much. He can't do anything. That's a problem. He can't do shit. He's just the
Yeah.
fucking face of Norway. It's just like, uh,
Figureheads.
yes,
Gotta love it.
and what he
Hail,
does
John Edgar. What's
hail.
up, buddy?
All he does is doing memes online when he's interviewed. He does memes
That's
and
great.
jokes. He
Love.
jokes about his wife and other stuff. I'm just like, dude, if you were a real king, can't you try to at least say something about certain stuff instead of just sitting there making us look like a fool? Yeah, it's
That's not his job.
no, it's
Kings aren't responsible with taking care of foreign affairs and stuff like that.
no. They
They're
just sit there and are being rich.
Yeah, and I can't even say they just sit there and look pretty, because damn, damn, ain't
Yep,
no attractive regency going on anywhere. There's
yep.
absolutely not a single individual that has the title king or queen that is attractive.
No,
And I just got to say, inbreeding is bad. Okay.
yeah, and I know, and we also know that our king, he is pretty much more of a lefty and stuff. He says
Who
he
isn't
talks,
these days?
yes, but he's always been more like that for many years. Always been like that. Um, But no, we will see what happens. I don't think they're gonna attack or anything like that. But Norway are gonna do some stupid shit to probably piss them off. I bet
They
because
all
our prime
do.
minister. Yeah, but it's our prime minister who has. We need a better leader in Norway, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon.
That eliminate Norway. Insert country. True statement. We need better
Yep.
leaders because every leader in the world right now is a fucking crackpot. They're psycho.
Yes,
Like
it's like
shit.
next time I'm
Hail to
gonna vote.
Christian Delorme. He says he was
Hail.
going to join, but nothing to bring to your stream. I doubt that. You can join if
Eh,
you want to.
and it's like, we in 2025, I think it is, there's like voting and stuff like this. I'm gonna spend a lot of time this next year to like figure out what I want to vote for, if there's anything I want to vote for. But the people I used to vote for are starting to become more woke. It's like, yes, I do agree with many things they say too. It's like that's the problem. I do agree with a lot of stuff they say, but there's also they support the things that I don't,
Yeah.
They also are some of the people I used to vote for. They also are like right now. They're like when we had the Ukraine stuff. They were like, "Oh, we need to give them more money and all that." I'm like, "Come on, can you start putting us on first place? Like, come on."
No.
And they wanted to police Norway a lot more. So if you look like me with tattoos on my face and all that, yeah, they want the police to be like they are allowed to search you just because the way you look. And I'm just like, that's not okay. That's not okay at all.
Hello, Christian. How's it going?
Hail Christian. Hail to you, man.
Sorry, I had to press play there. Hi, how are you, Cory? Finally, nice to meet you face to face, sir.
Yeah, indeed. I'm doing all right. How are you
With
doing,
no
sir?
beard. He doesn't have a
Oh,
beard
I
anymore.
can't hear you guys.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
sorry. Fly by night. I'm sitting in a pub here in upstate New York. My wife came shopping because you Americans have great WalMarts down here, and I hate shopping. It's my kryptonite. So I got to deal with her. I go to drink beer while she shops, and I bring her back wings. I think it's a good compromise.
Yeah, I think that's a great trade myself.
But
Yeah.
unfortunately, guys, I can't hear you. Just give me a second. There's something I must be doing wrong here.
All right.
Ah,
But no, so we will see.
darn. Anyway, sorry guys, I gotta get out. I can't hear you, but hey, nice to visit your wonderful country. Again, your Walmarts are awesome. Compared to our Canadian Walmarts, they suck. Love you, Americans.
That's fair.
And Cory and Jason, Happy New Year to you both and everybody in the stream and everybody in your channel. All the best to you guys. We'll see you
too,
next
sir.
year.
Have a good one. Thank you. Gotta love tech issues. Gotta love tech
Yeah,
issues.
tech issues is always nice, but no. So we will see. We'll just see. I'm probably gonna, if I'm gonna vote, I'm gonna do blank, or I'm gonna vote for the most hated party just because they're gonna lose. But at least they hate Norway, like the government in Norway. So
Yeah. Well, I mean that's always a plus, but sometimes
yeah,
it's not exactly the greatest selling
no,
point.
it's not. It is not.
Um,
No, they say a lot of stuff that I agree with and how they want to run Norway, but they will never win either way. They will never win. So.
yeah,
But at least, I think it's still important to give a vote, even if you
it
vote
is.
blank. Because I've always had this mindset. It's like if you don't vote, I don't think you have the right to talk about a lot of this
This is true.
because it's important that you vote, even if it's blank, but then you still did it. You still went there and vote, but you voted blank because you don't support the parties or stuff like that. And that's completely fine. But I think it's important to vote just to show what you stand for,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I here in the United States, I would tell anyone living here that if you're of voting age, you need to do so. I don't
Yeah.
care which way you vote, but you need to step up and actually
Yeah.
let your voice be heard this time. Because sitting by and do nothing isn't going to do anything for the
Mhm.
United States. That being said, this year I think we are going to see a strange combination of increased political tension between the two primary parties of the United States
Mhm.
and a weird, like, overwhelming amount of people switching sides from both sides.
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that's really going to worry me, because when you think back to 2020 election, it
Mm-hmm.
caused so much trouble within a average American household, just with minor differences in
Oh yeah.
philosophy, that now that we're coming up on one that, like, there's a lot of ambiguity in this election,
Yeah.
a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of things that people aren't sure of. And
Yeah.
the problem with that is oftentimes when people aren't sure and they don't know, and the normal political channels and news channels and all the stuff that they use to get information aren't providing them with enough information to make an informed decision, they default.
Yeah, and there's so many out there who just listens to the news and then they vote and they don't do research themselves.
Yeah,
You don't get the and you don't get enough information about in the news. Don't trust the news there. Do your
yeah,
own
and
research.
and that's one of the biggest things that we need
Hmm.
in this world, is an increase in actual informed voters, people who
Yeah,
are actually willing to put forth the effort to learn about what is going on, what
yeah,
needs to
exactly.
change. And,
Hmm.
honestly, I don't care what side of the political fence you're on. You need
Hmm.
to do the research, and you need to do what's actually best for the country, not just what you think is best for your own fluffed up, fucked up personal political ideology.
Yep.
You for lack of a better term,
Use your
US
fucking mind.
voters, yeah, US voters, please pull your heads out of your fucking asses and actually think about what you're going to do this time. Don't just
Exactly.
check the boxes that go along with whatever color radiates with you the most.
Yes,
Go
exactly.
with what's actually good for the country.
Yep.
Okay? Do I
Use
know
your
what that
head.
is? No. But I can guarantee you it's not what we have going on right now.
Exactly, and I agree
Okay?
with that. And also, like I say to a lot of people, if there are parties if you want to find a party that you can feel that is right for you, instead of just listening to the news and all the bullshit there, do the things I do. I sit on my computer for hours, even on my phone, listening to the debates. I'm listening to the rallies. Listening to every little single thing that is being said, so I know what people are talking about. So I know and what things I might agree with, not agree with, and get my own personal view on all of this overall and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it's gonna take a lot of your time, but if you're gonna vote, I think that's a good thing to do is use your time and
Indeed.
research.
Indeed.
It's like,
It's the number one most important thing with an election is actually doing your research.
mm-hmm,
John Edgar says voting just to see the opposition commit election fraud and win anyway is pretty disheartening. That's the reason. Okay. They want people to give up on what's going on. Hail to mass grave. He says this sounds like a literacy test of literacy tests of Jim Crow. Possibly. But that was the point of the whole 2020 bullshit, was to make every single American question the integrity of their election system, and thus decrease the amount of turnout for 2024. Because if no one comes out and votes, then things stay the same. Nothing will
yep.
change, and everyone that is in power right now gets what they want. Period.
Yeah, it needs to change, and I'm not even American, but everything that happens in Norway, we are, the like I like to call us, the bitches, the slaves to America, because we follow so much of America here in Norway. So it affects Norway, whoever who is the leader and other stuff like that. It's like now, Joe Biden is in office, and I know our prime minister, he's in love with that guy. So it's just like, yeah, it's.
It's too bad your prime minister is not a 12-year-old girl. They'd get along great. One Man Show says, it is difficult to equate an intellectual property with an edible. Okay. If I created a recipe and discussed it, then that person cooked up a derivative. I would not call that a shared idea. He's speaking of the ripoff conversation he's having with Nate D. I should have
Oh, yeah.
connected those dots. That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Landrigan says there should be a test for voters. Yeah, that's a tricky thing to think about right there. Yeah, Mass Grave says just woke up with a small hangover. that will happen this time of year.
Okay.
Especially on Monday.
Yeah, how was your Christmas, by the way, Corey?
My Christmas was good.
Yeah.
We just Christmas Eve we got together with all the family and we did the gift exchange that we normally do. I got some weed, a video
Oh.
game, and food.
The
But,
food is the best.
yeah, it's almost like my family thinks I'm a stoner giving me weed and video games, but I'm not gonna complain because I played the shit out of it. My friend Sean, he bought me Saints Row 2 for $10,
Oh,
and
Saints Row 2
I've
is a good one.
yeah, it's the best Saints Row in my opinion, and
Oh, it is.
it's I've
And it's
just been
fun too.
rolling on it.
It's
great.
it's really good. It's even modding the game is pretty cool too. I modded the game so I could get Star Wars clothing and stuff like that, just
Yeah.
because I love Star Wars. But it's the best one. And after that, I still like the other games, not the remake. The remake can go and fuck itself, and the creators they had to shut down either way. When that happened, I was not surprised. I'm like, yeah, I've been waiting for them to shut down the company because they failed so many times now. But the second one is the best one, and the first and second one, they connect so good.
Yeah. I'm loving the second one a lot.
Yeah.
Because I
What
had played
platform are you? What platform?
I hadn't actually played this game before. I
Really?
thought I had, but then when I started playing it, I'm all like, "Oh, okay. So Saints Row 2 is just a better version of Saints Row 3. I get it. All right. That's cool." But so John Edgar asks, "Is Norway in NATO? Did they join?
I think they have, if I don't remember
Did they
wrong.
get approved?" Huh. Because I know they've been fighting to get into NATO for a while, but I don't know if they actually got approved this time. Because I think it was Turkey
Yeah,
kept
yeah,
fucking that up.
yeah. Norway is in NATO or
Okay.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Christian Delorme says sounds like Jason is Canadian.
The way I speak, or
there's a lot of overlap in distaste for the government. That's
oh, in that kind of sense, yeah.
uh,
No, because I do remember Norway did welcome Sweden into NATO this year. So yeah, we are in NATO.
okay.
Yes, I remember, yeah, because we have one of our old prime ministers who is in charge of Norwegian NATO. And I remember Trump dissing the shit out of Trump dissed the shit out of NATO in front of us, and I'm all there for it. I'm like, yes, I agree with you, Trump. I agree with this
Yeah.
because NATO, they are fucking idiots. And I do remember our old prime minister, Jens Stoltenberg, who is the guy who runs the minister of the NATO in Norway.
Yeah.
You just see his face turn. He's just like, "What the fuck are you saying?" And I'm just sitting here. I'm like, "Yep, it's so fun."
Super fun.
Yep.
Landrigan says, "Is it tricky? If people don't know anything about politics, why should they vote?" And that's honestly what I'm advocating right now is informed voting. If you don't know anything about politics and you want to be involved, do your fucking research. Okay.
Yep.
Don't just assume or don't go on party lines. Don't go based on what your family thinks. Don't let someone else fill out your ballot for you. Actually do the research. I know that's asking a lot for the soft-brained masses, but please just do the fucking research. Okay? As an anarchist, it's really hard for me to decide who to vote for because I fucking hate them all. But
Yep.
then you can't vote on party lines. You have to vote based on the issues. Do you want taxes to go
Yep.
up? Do you want prices to go up? Do you want
Power bills?
Power bills. Oh boy.
Mhm.
Just do you want these kinds of things? Because if you do, then just keep things the same. If you actually want to see change effected in our modern age, you have to stand up and you have to start using this squishy thing in between your ears.
Yep.
Okay? It's not
Eh,
just there to soak up whatever narcotics you're doing. It's not there to just ingest all of your fun little anime cat girls. Okay?
Yep.
It is there for a reason. Start
Yep.
using it. For fuck's
Yep. One thing.
sake.
So this is actually a prediction I have for Norway next year is that everything again in Norway is gonna be more expensive. Here in Norway, the power bills, the also the rent is going up for a lot of people now. For people who lives in apartments like I do, they have smallly started with that. Almost the end of the year now, and they're gonna go up. They started in December for a lot of people, so next year it's gonna, of course, be a lot more. Food prices, they're already real expensive. Is that's like I always say, if you come to Norway, for you Americans, yeah, food in Norway I think is a little bit more expensive here for you guys. I've actually talked with some other Americans and watched some other videos from Americans who are traveling to Norway, and they're like looking at food and buying food, and they're figuring out the price, and they're just so surprised how fucking expensive the food is. And that's why I said, yeah, that's why the Norwegians normally travel to Sweden to buy everything because
Yeah.
for us, that's cheap. In Norway, it's expensive. The power bills is expensive. So everything I feel is gonna go up next year on a lot
Yeah.
of this fucking shit, unfortunately.
For sure. Mass Graves says that's not a bad idea. Only the initiated should vote. That's why we are a republic, though. I don't disagree with you. I personally think that a huge something that would help a lot with this voting issue would be voter IDs. Honestly, because a lot of the uninitiated dipshit motherfuckers aren't going to go through with it. They're like, oh, you shouldn't be able to identify me when I vote. It's like, well, we need to be able to identify the fact that you're legally allowed to do so, first of all. And second, it needs to
Yeah.
actually show that you're educated, for lack of a better term, on what
Yeah.
the political world
Yeah.
is like.
And just so I don't, because I did remember that Norway is actually one of the founding members of NATO
Oh,
in
okay.
1949. 1949.
All right.
I normally don't think so much about NATO because I always have said I hate them. Yeah, it is a good thing too that we all are a countries that standing together if a war happens, yada yada, of course. But still, they need to do a better fucking job, especially here in the EU, do a
Yeah.
lot better job and start
For
paying
sure.
for stuff. Because normally, when Trump was in office, as he said, it's basically Americans who pays for every single thing. And Norway and the rest of the EU pay basically nothing. And yeah, that is kind of true because what we do with our money, like especially in Norway, we give it away all the time. We are spending the money on terrorists, inviting them to Norway. Uh, we are spending it to try to figure out if white paint is racist in Norway. That like play stuff like that is where our money goes. That's what they pay for. That's what they give the money to. So yeah, NATO. If you hear this, I'm a Norwegian. I'm from the EU. Well, quote unquote EU because Norway is not part of the EU, but we're still part of. It's a confusing thing with the
That is really,
Norwegian.
really confusing. Christian Delorme says, check your Ko-Fi. Alrighty. So we'll pop on over here. Christian Delorme for $3 says, because I missed you at Christmas. Well, thank you. And belated Merry Christmas to you, sir. Thank you for the $3. Every little bit helps. There was another comment. Where was it? Diablo Dame. She says, I spent the morning, part of the morning, explaining the Great Reset to my son. And this is another thing that we actually need to do as functional adults, for lack of a better term. We have to educate our children.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people in the world today that think the internet is going to educate their kids. And guess what?
Yeah.
It will, but not in the way that you're hoping. Because I don't know if everyone realizes this or not, but a lot of what you see on the internet isn't true.
Oh yeah, that's the fact.
In one way or another, whether it's a sin of omission or a direct sin of commission, however you want to look at it, it is literally your job as a parent to teach them, and as I often do with my son, to dispel the bullshit they learn from the internet.
Yeah.
When my son started talking about the fact that deer and rabbits have similar emotional intelligence to 5-year-old children and stuff like that. I went to him and I was all like, they're food. Okay, they're food. Stop. They're not people. They're not equivalent to people in any way. Just stop. And then, like little things like that. And then you have to go up to bigger things, like the fact that socialism is not a good thing. Okay.
Look at Norway.
Like you have to be able to teach your children that socialism
Yep.
is bad. Okay.
So Corey, you
But
could just use Norway as an example there
you
because our
can.
country, yeah, because we are just this country is just socialism. And my dad normally says, yeah, well, Norway is a little bit of a communist world too here in Norway. And I'm like, yeah, it's starting to be there in certain stuff in a way.
Indeed. Let's see. Nate D says repeal the 16th Amendment. For those of you not familiar with the United States government system, the 16th Amendment allows Congress to exact taxes regardless of enumeration and et cetera, no matter the general census and et cetera. They're allowed to take it from any source that they want, period. Which directly conflicts with the whole taxation without representation issue that we raised during this Revolutionary
No, but I agree
War.
with the parenting. Parenting
But-
is really important.
Indeed.
And I am from a younger generation. I grew up mostly where when the internet became big and all that kind of stuff. I grew up at that time. But I didn't spend my life on the internet and all that all the fucking time. I actually, in most of the people I know in my generation, at least, we went outside playing. We were actually social with friends. We did stuff. And we learned that if you fall down and hurt yourself, well, you just go back straight up and you take it as a man,
Yeah.
That's what we learned.
You deal with it.
Yes, but I see now, I have, I'm not going to say names, but, I have friends who have kids who are Gen Zs, as or Generation Alpha, I guess you will call them now, because that's what they
I don't
call
know.
it.
I've always
Yeah.
been confused by that shit. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
because we have like so I'm millennial, and
Yeah.
the people that get kids now who are millennials have the kids that are called Generation Alpha, and a generation after me is called Generation C. It's so fucked up weird with all these generation names. But other than that, I see a lot of the quote unquote Gen Cs and how they grow up, and all they do is on the internet, is the web. They learn everything from
Yep.
this and that. And I'm like, yes, I have TikTok. I use TikTok, but I'm not like every other people who are young on TikTok. And I see a lot of kids on TikTok are that's where they get their fucking political stuff from and other information from. I'm like, yeah, you can find people that you can agree with that says good stuff, but there's also a lot of fucked up shit there. It's like,
Yeah.
I remember there was a live stream I was watching, and I looked at the fucking person's fucking TikTok account, and they go on about how Lincoln was a black guy, and the Lincoln who got killed was not the real Lincoln, and I'm just like, what the
Smoke some more crack, you psycho.
Yeah,
What the
and they said like,
fuck?
and they talked about the reason Lincoln freed slaves and all that was because he was a black guy, not a white guy, and they talked about a white guy would never do that. And I'm just like, what the fuck have you guys been smoking? Like, what
Right.
the fuck is going
Right.
on?
Come on.
And I
Yeah.
predict like stuff like that is gonna get a lot worse next year and forwards.
Yeah.
So be a good parent and parent
Please.
your kids properly. Even if
Please
you
do.
even if your kids disagree with you when they're older and stuff like that, at least you have parent them a good way, and they are a free thinker. They learn stuff themselves. You learn them stuff, and no matter what, let them be a person. Not let the technology and not give them the iPad and PC access all the fucking time. And also, you as a parent are responsible for what they're also going on YouTube. If they go on porn, that's on you. You have to
Yeah.
do stuff like
You have to pay attention.
pay attention. You can also use block stuff on your computer, iPad, so they can't be on that kind of stuff. Like what they do in school. They have
Mhm.
that on computers in school most of the time. It's most of the time. I don't know
Yeah.
anymore, but what they used to do back in the days, they had like blocks. If you try to search porn, you couldn't do that on PCs. You had to like hack the system.
Right.
But it's your it's your job as a parent to watch over and everything like that. Please do that.
Right. Yes, please do that. Christian Delorme has a Christmas joke for us. He says, "Why did Frosty pull down his pants? He heard the snowblower was coming." You got to get that blowjob, man. Don't matter what you are. One Man Show says the whole generation whatever system
Oh
is
yeah.
just another layer of divisiveness. It is.
Yep.
It is indeed, and it's
We
it's another way of allowing us to cast blame
yeah.
through like, oh well, it was this generation's fault. And it, not
Oh
not
yeah,
not
yeah. I
it
know
wasn't a
it's
collaborative effort of human stupidity. It was specifically this generation.
Oh, yes. I hear it all the
And
time. I hear it all the time, like, "Oh, Generation X, they destroy the youth, yada
oh
yada." I'm like, "Oh my
yeah,
god, just shut the
the
fuck up."
boomers didn't leave anything for us. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
they
just
did.
like,
They
"Shut
left
up."
they left us the same opportunities they had, just in a very different light.
Yep.
The generation that told us we could never make money playing video games was proven wrong. So
Ye
the generation that said, you know, the internet was a fad, et cetera, was proven wrong. And therefore we discount everything that they have to say after that point. And honestly, that's just a stupid thing to do.
Mhm.
Um, the generational differences, um, shouldn't cause you to actually hate people. Okay.
Nope.
If you hear all these people talking about tolerance, understanding, acceptance, and all this other shit, but then they
Yeah.
directly run to, well, you're fucking stupid because you don't believe the same way I do, or oh, what do you know? You're from this generation,
No,
or
yeah, I've heard it
et
all the
cetera.
time. I've heard it all the time since I'm
It's fucking
28.
yeah, it's
I hear it
dumb.
all the time. And I remember people tell me, "Oh, why do you tattoo your face and your body like that? Or you're probably gonna regret when you're older." I'm like, I'm from a different world than you are, and I grew up, having a free mind, doing what the fuck I want to do with my fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I grew up. That's how I've always been. And I'm just the same as my dad because he's the same fucking way. He did raise me, and that's I became really much similar than him. But I hear it all the time. It's like, oh, it's because of this, because of that. Oh, you don't know much about movies or reviewing movies because you're so young. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about?
For
It's
real.
annoying. And I've studied, film and editing and all that. Oh, I don't know anything. I remember I'm not gonna say names, but I was on a stream it was some years ago, and this motherfucker, he told me, "Oh, people that haven't taken a litmus test, that is basically for politicians and other stuff like that. If you haven't taken that test, you cannot review movies properly, and that goes for everybody." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Everybody can review movies and
Right.
write movies, serious
I
books.
mean, come on.
Look at George Lucas. Look at other people of dropouts who'd stopped being at normal school, and look at them now. How big they became, with
Right.
writing, making movies, serious books, whatever. It's just like, yeah, you don't need to take a fucking test to prove that you can review stuff. Oh, she's like, fuck you, suck my sweaty ball sack, as I normally say.
Yeah. Christian Delorme says, I'm the Gen X group, but was raised old school. I shake my head at today's society. I do too. I'm a millennial, and honestly, I cannot understand a single fucking reason why we live in the society we do today. I mean,
Nope.
none. I was raised on The Simpsons and South Park and
Oh
Free
yeah,
Thought and heavy
yeah.
metal,
And South
and
Park
I
still
can't
does great
understand any of it.
jobs.
It
South
does.
Park still.
They
Yeah.
do.
Have you seen the newest episode?
I
Cred.
have not. No.
It's uncensored, really graphic, and making
All right.
jokes of Logan Paul and other stuff and the Prime drink. I'm all for it. That was a funny episode.
Hell yeah. Christian Delorme also says he knows Jason is cool because he just joined Nick Weiser's Gilded. Yes.
Oh yeah, Nick
We
Weiser's
are
a good
all on
friend of mine.
Gilded. So
Yeah,
make sure you check all that shit out.
yeah. Nick Weiser, good
Um,
friend,
that's good.
good buddy.
That's good. It's good to have good friends. We
Oh
are
yeah.
in the last minute, so we're just going to go ahead and wind down. So, Jason, what you got going on? Where can people find you?
Well,
Etc.
of course, I am Jason Fox. I am the creator and founder of 540 Studio. And of course, again, we talk about pop culture and other stuff like that. We are going to start streaming again next year on New Year because I took a long break. I had to take a break, enjoyed some free time. I've been binging a lot of old Vikings, the old good series. Vikings are a good show. Don't watch the sequel series of Vikings Valhalla. That's a skip woke show where they changed everything from the mythology and lore and everything. Fuck that show. But the original Vikings, watch it. But other than that, thank you for having me. It's always fun to be here, and I'm
Hell yeah.
excited for the New Year's. There's a lot of new shows that we are gonna announce. We are getting back, guests. We are gonna get Chuck Dixon, Mike Barron, etc. all back on, and talk about the release of Alpha Core and other stuff. So it's gonna be a lot of fun next year, and like I always say before we wrap up stuff, life's too short, make the most of it. And we on this panel, we love you and we appreciate you, and we wouldn't been here today if it wasn't for any of you guys out there. So thank you everybody for the support and love that you're giving, and have a good new year.
For sure. Ditto on everything he said. As Christian Delorme says, dad jokes rock. So I guess I'll just say I'll see you guys next year, which is Monday, for Cory's Corner. Probably do Mental Health Monday. Talk about New Year's resolutions more than anything and why they're so fucking stupid to even think about.
Oh God.
And spoiler alert, has a lot to do with the fact that no one is committed to anything these days. But anyway, I will catch you guys on Monday. So make sure you stay sexy. Don't get murdered. And as always, have a wonderful time. Bye.
Goodbye.